In the early 15th century, France lies in ruins, ravaged by the Hundred Years' War. English banners flutter defiantly over smoldering villages, while the cries of the wounded echo through the desolate landscape, a nation torn apart by conflict and betrayal. Amidst this chaos, a young peasant girl named Joan emerges from the village of Domremy. At just 17, she possesses a fierce spirit, her fair skin and dark brown hair framing a face marked by determination and innocence, eyes that burn with conviction. Joan's life is steeped in faith. She spends her days tending to her family's modest farm, but her nights are filled with fervent prayers. It is during these quiet moments that she begins to hear the divine voices that will alter her fate. The voices she hears are those of saints, guiding her toward a destiny she cannot yet comprehend. Joan believes she is chosen to save France, a conviction that will soon set her on a path fraught with peril and uncertainty. As the war rages on, Joan's visions grow more vivid. She sees herself leading armies, a simple girl transformed into a figure of hope, yet the world around her remains skeptical, viewing her as nothing more than a naive dreamer. Despite the skepticism, Joan's faith remains unshaken. She feels the weight of her calling pressing upon her, a fire igniting within her soul. The voices urge her to act, to rise against the tide of despair engulfing her homeland. In a land where kings falter and hope seems lost, Joan believes she has a divine mission. But as she prepares to step beyond the confines of her village, the question looms: can a girl of humble origins truly change the course of history? Her journey will take her into the heart of a fractured kingdom, where the clash of faith and authority awaits. In a world dominated by power and control, Joan's unwavering belief challenges the very foundations of society. As she steps into the unknown, the lines between faith and madness blur. Was Joan a messenger of God, a political tool, or a dangerous symbol that threatened the balance of power? The answers lie ahead. In the small village of Domremy, nestled among rolling fields, a young Joan of Arc, around 13, roams barefoot through the meadows. Her fair skin glistens in the sunlight as she listens intently to the whispers of nature, feeling a deep connection to the world around her. This is a place untouched by the chaos of war, yet the distant echoes of conflict shape her understanding of faith and destiny. Joan's home is a simple thatched cottage where her family endures the hardships of peasant life. Each evening, she kneels in prayer, her hazel eyes reflecting the flickering candlelight. She seeks guidance from the divine, believing that she is chosen for a purpose greater than herself. Her deep faith stands in stark contrast to the skepticism of the villagers, who dismiss her visions as mere fantasy. As Joan grows, her visions become more vivid. She claims to hear the voices of Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret, calling her to save France from its torment. These divine encounters fill her with a sense of purpose, yet they also weigh heavily on her young shoulders. The burden of prophecy is both a gift and a source of isolation, setting her apart from her peers. In the village, whispers of Joan's claims circulate among the townsfolk. Some regard her with admiration, while others view her as a threat to the established order. Her unwavering gaze and calm confidence challenge their beliefs, stirring unease. Yet, Joan remains undeterred, her moral certainty shining through as she embraces her calling, even in the face of doubt. Joan's childhood is marked by the sounds of distant battles and the prayers of her family. The specter of war looms over Domremy, shaping her understanding of duty and sacrifice. As she witnesses the toll of conflict on her community, her visions grow more urgent. Joan feels a divine mandate to act, believing she must rise above her humble origins to fulfill her destiny. Joan's connection to the divine deepens as she spends hours in prayer, often retreating to the local chapel. Here she finds solace in the flickering candles and the scent of incense. The sacred space becomes a refuge where her visions are nurtured, and she begins to understand the weight of her calling. The chapel's light casts a warm glow, illuminating her youthful face as she seeks clarity. Despite the skepticism of those around her, Joan's faith remains unshakable. She begins to articulate her visions more boldly, sharing them with her family and friends. Her words are filled with conviction, and she speaks of a future where France is united and free from oppression. This unwavering belief ignites a flicker of hope in those who hear her, even as doubt lingers. As Joan navigates the complexities of her faith, she grapples with the loneliness of her calling. The voices she hears are both a source of strength and a reminder of her isolation. While her peers play and laugh, Joan feels the weight of her destiny pressing down on her slender shoulders. She understands that her journey will require courage beyond her years, and she embraces it with fierce determination. With each passing day, Joan's visions grow clearer, compelling her to prepare for the challenges ahead. She practices her prayers and strengthens her resolve, knowing that her path will lead her far beyond Domremy. The voices call her to a destiny intertwined with the fate of a nation, and she feels the stirrings of a greater purpose awakening within her youthful spirit. Joan, a slender, fair-skinned girl of 17, stands resolute as she approaches the imposing castle of Charles VII. The air is thick with tension, and the distant sounds of courtly chatter echo through the stone corridors, a stark contrast to her humble village. Inside the court, nobles and clergy eye her with skepticism. Joan's simple tunic and plate armor mark her as an outsider, yet she holds her head high, unwavering in her conviction, ready to face those who doubt her divine calling. As she is brought before the king, Joan identifies Charles without introduction, her calm confidence unsettling the assembly. The murmurs of disbelief ripple through the crowd, yet she remains undeterred, her gaze fixed on the uncrowned king. The court interrogates her relentlessly, testing her knowledge of scripture and her visions. Joan responds with clarity and conviction, her faith a shield against their doubts. Each question only strengthens her resolve to lead the armies of France. Joan boldly demands armor instead of protection, insisting she must lead the troops into battle. The nobles exchange glances, their disbelief mingling with a growing sense of unease. A girl in armor is a challenge to their authority. Her unwavering faith begins to shift the atmosphere in the court. Some nobles start to whisper among themselves, intrigued by the idea of a girl wielding divine power. Joan's presence, though unconventional, plants seeds of doubt in their certainty. As discussions grow heated, Joan remains calm, her intense gaze unwavering. She speaks of her visions, invoking the names of saints, her voice steady and clear. The court, once dismissive, now feels the weight of her conviction. Despite the growing tension, Joan's faith and moral certainty shine through. She stands as a beacon of hope, challenging the established order. The court is caught between tradition and the unsettling possibility of a girl's divine mission. As the court deliberates, Joan senses the shift in the air. Her journey from the village to this moment is a testament to her unwavering belief. The path ahead remains uncertain, but her resolve only strengthens in the face of authority. As the sun rises over the besieged city of Orléans, Joan of Arc, now a determined young woman of 17, rides at the forefront of the French army. Clad in simple plate armor, her dark brown hair cropped short, she carries a white banner adorned with religious symbols. Her intense hazel eyes reflect unwavering resolve as she inspires her weary troops, reminding them of their shared purpose and the divine mission that drives them forward. The atmosphere is thick with tension as Joan addresses the assembled soldiers. Her calm confidence cuts through their despair, urging them to believe in a victory that seems impossible. She speaks of divine guidance, her voice steady and clear, igniting a flicker of hope among the demoralized ranks. For these men, once resigned to defeat, her presence becomes a beacon, a reminder that faith can shift the tides of war. As the siege intensifies, Joan leads her troops into battle, her banner fluttering in the wind. The clash of swords and the shouts of men fill the air, yet Joan remains resolute, rallying her soldiers with fervor. Unlike seasoned generals, she wields inspiration rather than a sword, embodying the spirit of the fight. Her unwavering gaze and moral certainty become a rallying cry, transforming fear into courage on the battlefield. The tide begins to turn as Joan's leadership inspires a remarkable resurgence among the French forces. They push back against the English, their spirits lifted by her divine conviction. Each victory, however small, fuels their resolve. Joan's presence blurs the line between faith and military might, as her belief in a higher purpose becomes a powerful weapon, igniting a fervor that spreads like wildfire through the ranks. As the siege progresses, Joan's influence grows, and the army becomes a cohesive force driven by shared belief. Her unwavering faith transforms the battlefield into a place of hope. The soldiers, once fragmented and fearful, now fight with a unified purpose. Joan's divine inspiration becomes synonymous with their struggle, as they realize that their fight is not just for land, but for the very soul of France. The culmination of Joan's efforts comes when the French forces breach the English defenses. The gates of Orléans swing open, and the soldiers pour into the city, their cheers echoing through the streets. Joan, at the forefront, feels the weight of her mission lift, replaced by the exhilaration of victory. This moment is not just a military triumph. It is a testament to the power of belief in the face of overwhelming odds. As the dust settles after the battle, the city of Orléans stands liberated, a symbol of hope for a fractured France. Joan's role as a leader solidifies, and she is hailed as a miracle worker. Yet, amid the joy, a new reality unfolds. The political landscape shifts, and Joan's victories draw attention from those who question her authority and the implications of her divine mission. While the victory at Orléans marks a turning point in the war, it also sets the stage for Joan's complex relationship with the crown she has fought to restore. As she rides through the cheering crowds, the weight of expectation mounts. Joan's faith has sparked a flame of resistance, but the political realities of her newfound power loom ominously on the horizon, hinting at the challenges yet to come. Joan's journey from peasant girl to military leader is a testament to the power of belief in the face of adversity. As she stands amidst the cheers of her soldiers, she embodies the hope of a nation. Yet the path ahead remains fraught with uncertainty. The next chapter of her story will test the very faith that has brought her this far, as the forces of authority begin to close in around her. In the Grand Cathedral of Reims, the air buzzes with anticipation as Charles VII, dressed in royal regalia, prepares for his coronation. Joan stands nearby, her short, dark brown hair framing her youthful face, eyes shining with conviction. This moment fulfills her divine mission, yet the weight of her success begins to shift the dynamics of power within the court. As the crown is placed upon Charles's head, the crowd erupts in cheers. Yet, amidst the celebration, whispers of doubt circulate among the nobles. Joan's role as a savior transforms into a source of unease, as her faith and influence challenge the established order they cling to. Joan, emboldened by the coronation, continues to advocate for military campaigns against the English. Her unwavering gaze and calm confidence inspire many, but the court's atmosphere grows tense. Nobles, once her allies, now view her as a potential threat to their power. In the days following the coronation, Joan's visions become increasingly fervent. She believes she is destined to lead France to further victories, but her insistence on military action draws criticism. The clergy question her divine mandate, and the nobles grow wary of her influence. As Joan pushes for more aggressive strategies, her once celebrated status begins to erode. The very faith that propelled her to greatness now becomes a double-edged sword, as the court grapples with the implications of her unwavering belief and the potential consequences of her actions. Despite growing opposition, Joan remains resolute. She believes that her visions are a divine calling, compelling her to act. Yet as she rallies troops for another campaign, the tension between her faith and the court's political reality continues to escalate. The nobles, feeling their power threatened, begin to distance themselves from Joan. They question her motives and the legitimacy of her visions, fearing that her influence could undermine their authority. Joan, however, remains undeterred, driven by her conviction. As Joan's military campaigns continue, her faith inspires hope among the common people. Yet it also breeds resentment among the elite. The once unified front begins to fracture, revealing cracks in the alliance that Joan fought so hard to build. Joan's unwavering belief in her divine mission propels her forward, but as the political landscape shifts beneath her, the question looms: can faith alone sustain her in a world where power is increasingly wary of the very symbol it once embraced? In the spring of 1430, Joan of Arc, now aged 18, finds herself surrounded by Burgundian soldiers. The girl who once inspired armies is now a captive, her simple plate armor tarnished and her white banner lost. Betrayed by those she fought for, the weight of abandonment settles heavily upon her. The voices that once guided her seem distant, leaving her in a silence that echoes the betrayal of her own country. Sold to the English, Joan is taken to a grim fortress in Rouen. The walls, cold and damp, reflect her isolation. Once a beacon of hope for France, she now faces the grim reality of imprisonment. The flickering torchlight casts shadows on her youthful face, revealing the intensity in her hazel eyes, which still burn with unwavering conviction despite her dire circumstances. As weeks pass, the political machinery of France turns its back on her. Charles VII, the king she crowned, makes no effort to secure her freedom. The silence from the court is deafening, and Joan's faith, once celebrated, becomes a liability. She clings to her belief, but the isolation gnaws at her spirit, leaving her to wonder if she truly was ever more than a pawn in a game of power. In the fortress, Joan endures relentless questioning from English captors who seek to undermine her faith. They twist her words, attempting to paint her visions as delusions. Yet even in captivity, her calm confidence remains unyielding. She answers each inquiry with clarity, her resolute expression unwavering, embodying the very spirit that once rallied an entire nation. As the trial approaches, the church steps forward, eager to exploit her vulnerability. Once a symbol of divine purpose, Joan is now viewed through a lens of suspicion. The very faith that fueled her journey becomes the weapon used against her. The bright light of the cathedral, once a source of inspiration, now feels like a distant memory, overshadowed by the darkness of betrayal. In the courtroom, Joan faces a panel of theologians, their faces lined with skepticism. They seek to dismantle her faith, using her own words against her. Yet, her unwavering gaze and moral certainty shine through the haze of doubt. She speaks of her visions with the same fervor that once inspired soldiers, refusing to back down even as the walls close in around her. As the trial drags on, Joan's health begins to wane. The weight of her isolation takes its toll, dark circles forming under her eyes. Yet she continues to pray fervently, seeking strength from the very voices that guided her. Each prayer is a reminder of her purpose, even as the world around her spirals into chaos and despair. The trial culminates in a verdict that seals her fate. Joan is condemned, not for her actions on the battlefield, but for her unwavering belief in her divine mission. The flames that will soon consume her become a symbol of the Church's fear of a faith they cannot control. In that moment, Joan transforms from a warrior into a martyr, her conviction igniting a fire that will not be easily extinguished. As she awaits her fate, Joan reflects on her journey. The girl who once carried a banner into battle now stands on the precipice of death. Yet her spirit remains unbroken. The world outside may have turned against her, but her faith is a flame that refuses to be doused. The question lingers, what will her sacrifice mean for those who follow? In a dimly lit chamber, Joan of Arc sits shackled, her youthful face framed by short, dark brown hair. The air is thick with tension as she faces a panel of stern theologians, their eyes cold and calculating. They seek to dismantle her faith, questioning her divine visions. Despite the oppressive atmosphere, her brown eyes remain resolute, embodying a calm confidence that unnerves her interrogators. As the trial progresses, Joan is subjected to relentless questioning. The theologians weave intricate theological traps, attempting to sow doubt in her mind. Yet she responds with clarity, her voice unwavering. Each denial of their accusations strengthens her resolve, and her calm demeanor contrasts sharply with the desperation of her captors, who fear the power of her conviction. Days turn into weeks, and the isolation weighs heavily on Joan. The cold stone walls of her cell echo with silence, amplifying her solitude. Yet she clings to her faith, praying fervently in the flickering light of a small window. Her slender frame, once vibrant with purpose, now shows signs of fatigue, but her spirit remains unyielded, a testament to her inner strength. The trial reaches a fever pitch as Joan's visions are scrutinized. The theologians brand her a heretic, accusing her of witchcraft and treason. Yet she stands firm, declaring her divine mission with unwavering conviction. The tension in the chamber escalates, and her words echo like a battle cry, challenging the very authority that seeks to silence her. As the verdict looms, Joan's fate hangs in the balance. The court, now a theater of political maneuvering, seeks to extinguish her light. In a final act of defiance, she refuses to recant her beliefs, proclaiming her visions as truth. The weight of history presses down upon her, yet she remains a beacon of faith, unyielding in the face of impending doom. The trial concludes with a swift and merciless verdict. Joan is condemned to death. The news spreads like wildfire, and the once celebrated heroine is now marked for execution. As she is led to the stake, the flickering torches cast a haunting glow, illuminating her slender figure, a stark contrast to the dark intentions of her captors. At the stake, Joan faces her executioners with a calm demeanor that belies her youth. The flames begin to rise, and she lifts her eyes to the heavens, whispering prayers. In her final moments, she embodies the very faith that brought her here, a testament to the power of conviction in a world that seeks to control it. As the flames consume her, the air is thick with a mixture of fear and reverence. Joan of Arc, the girl who defied kings, becomes a martyr. Her legacy, forged in the crucible of faith and conviction, will echo through the ages, challenging the very foundations of authority that sought to silence her. In the years following Joan's execution in 1431, whispers of her courage and faith began to spread like wildfire across France. Her story transformed from that of a condemned heretic into a symbol of hope and resilience, igniting the hearts of those yearning for liberation from oppression. In 1456, retrial was held, led by a church eager to correct its past mistakes. Joan's name was cleared, her visions recognized as divine truth. The very authority that condemned her now sought to reclaim her legacy, acknowledging her as a martyr. As centuries passed, Joan's legacy evolved. She became a national icon, embodying the spirit of France and inspiring countless movements. Her image adorned banners and statues, her story woven into the fabric of national identity. In 1920, Joan was canonized as a saint, her unwavering faith and sacrifice recognized by the Catholic Church. This elevation transformed her from a historical figure into a spiritual beacon, guiding the faithful through trials and tribulations. Joan's story resonates beyond the realms of faith and nationalism. Feminists and activists draw strength from her defiance, viewing her as a symbol of empowerment against patriarchal authority. Her spirit ignites a flame of conviction in those who challenge the status quo. Joan of Arc stands not only as a martyr, but as a reminder of the power of belief. Her life illustrates the profound impact one individual can have on the course of history, challenging the very foundations of authority and control. The flame of Joan's conviction continues to burn brightly, inspiring generations to confront injustice and speak truth to power. Her legacy is a testament to the enduring strength of faith and the courage to stand alone against overwhelming odds. Joan of Arc defied kings and the very systems that sought to silence her. Her story is a powerful reminder that belief, once ignited, cannot be extinguished, echoing through time as a call to action for all who dare to dream.